Canada is not collapsing by accident. It is being dismantled piece by piece, and the signs are everywhere for anyone willing to look. To the casual observer, it can seem like incompetence, weak leadership, or just bad luck. But when the same destructive patterns repeat across housing, healthcare, education, finance, speech, and identity, it no longer looks like failure. It looks like design. Housing, the broken promise. Housing is the clearest starting point. For decades, the country sold a simple dream: work hard, save, buy a modest home, and build a life. That promise gave families stability. It tied them to their communities and gave them a stake in the future. Today, that promise is gone. In Toronto, Vancouver, and beyond, ownership has drifted out of reach. Prices ran while wages crawled. Rents soared until the only winners were landlords, lenders, and speculators. Young couples who once could have bought a starter home now sign another lease and hope next year will be different. Every month without progress feels like a step backward, and that is the point. Who gains when citizens cannot own the roofs over their heads? Developers who flip land into luxury projects. Banks that collect decades of interest. Speculators who treat neighborhoods like poker chips. Politicians who cash donations from everyone at the table. A nation of owners is resilient. A nation of tenants is compliant. Cost of living, the engine of debt. Groceries eat paychecks. Bills pile like waves. Energy, transit, and insurance take what little remains. Families that once survived on one income now struggle on two. Parents pick between fresh produce or the overdue bill. Credit cards fill the gap, and debt becomes a subscription where the fee always goes up. Prices rise, wages stall, and the squeeze is no accident. It is design. Debt chains people more effectively than any law. Meanwhile, corporate consolidation tightens its grip. Fewer companies control more of what you eat, drink, or use. When the menu shrinks, prices no longer need to compete. Government promises relief, yet never touch the structures causing the pain. Shareholders celebrate, households tighten belts. The pattern is too neat to ignore. Healthcare, a manufactured crisis. For generations, healthcare was Canada's pride. Imperfect, but fair. Now emergency rooms overflow. Doctors retire with no replacements. Nurses burn out. Wait times stretch from hours to months. Governments hire consultants to explain why nothing can be fixed. In the chaos, private companies step forward with partnerships. When the system frays long enough, desperation makes people accept pay-to-play medicine. The crisis itself becomes a sales pitch. Immigration and scarcity. Immigration, noble in principle, has been weaponized by poor planning. Cities welcome new arrivals, but fail to build housing, transit, or medical capacity to support them. Schools crowd, waiting rooms swell, rents climb higher. Citizens and newcomers compete for the same scarce resources, turning neighbors against each other instead of against the institutions that profit from scarcity. Sideways conflict keeps people from looking upward. Public safety and surveillance streets and transit feel less safe. Encampments grow as housing costs push more people out. Addiction spreads where despair takes root. When citizens feel threatened, they ask for more cameras, more control, more enforcement. Technology firms win contracts, agencies expand powers. Fear becomes the excuse for permanent surveillance. Surveillance is the quiet thread. Payment systems go programmable. Identification goes digital. Services link to profiles that can be frozen or altered. The pitch is convenience. The reality is control. A society that can be switched off is not free. Speech redefining truth. Speech is policed under the banner of safety. Misinformation becomes whatever challenges official narratives. Platforms are pressured to downrank the inconvenient and elevate the compliant. Rules shift, definitions drift, and people self-censor. Freedom of expression dies not with a bang, but with silence, when citizens edit their own words out of fear. The pattern emerges, step back, and it's obvious. Housing policies that reward speculation. Inflation that fattens monopolies. Healthcare collapse that opens the door to privatization. Immigration that outpaces capacity and fuels scarcity. Safety concerns that sell surveillance. speech rules that punish dissent. Each issue alone could be dismissed as mismanagement. Together they form a chain, downward for the many, upward for the few. Who benefits? Developers and real estate funds that buy neighborhoods by the block, banks that harvest debt, food conglomerates that cut choices while raising prices, tech companies that sell surveillance as innovation, politicians who trade access for donations, international organizations that prefer nations run like administrative districts rather than cultures with independence. The incentives align neatly. When daily life feels like a maze, people are easier to manage. The cultural collapse. The damage isn't only financial. Trust erodes. Families shrink dreams. Conversations dry up because every topic feels radioactive. A country can lose money and recover. A country that loses hope becomes a hollow shell that keeps its name but forgets its purpose. Education feeds into this. Tuition rises, trades are undersupplied, students graduate with debt and certificates but few skills. The system rewards compliance over mastery. Bureaucracy wins. Communities lose. Small businesses suffocate under rules and fees that large corporations absorb with ease. Local shops close. Chains move in. Economic power centralizes and fragility grows. Because fewer boardrooms now decide what an entire country can eat, build, or believe. Media follows the same arc. Outlets consolidate. Advertisers and sponsors influence what's amplified. Viewers drift toward independent creators, so gatekeepers tighten rules and narrow the boundaries of debate. Narratives become software that can be patched overnight. Yesterday's truth becomes today's error. Scarcity, fear, control. Scarcity justifies surveillance. Confusion justifies censorship. Fear justifies force. A society under constant pressure accepts terms it would reject in times of calm. The architects of decline don't need full agreement, only exhaustion. People stop resisting and the rest follow. The way out. The solution doesn't start with slogans. It starts with ownership returning to households, communities rebuilding local capacity for food, energy, and work, education that teaches skills, not paperwork, speech protected in practice, not just on paper, citizens refusing to play by rigged rules. Real resilience is quiet. Families who plan, towns that fix, trades pass to the next generation. Canada's story is not finished. Restoration is still possible, but it won't come from podiums or branded programs. It will come from people who see the game clearly and refuse to keep playing it. You be the judge. And if you're awake, you already know what to do. Sign up to our free underground newsletter, link in the description.